All right, so this is the treehouse. You know, everybody has their COVID-19 projects that they did. This was mine. So let's get into it. So, you know, I watched a few videos about how to build a treehouse, and you know, try to get some advice. You know, I kind of approached it from just kind of basically trying to build a deck. Basically what I did is I had 4 trees. I have this olive tree here, nice and strong, you know, and then I had, you know, it's a bit nice and big. I basically had one branch. So what I did is I had these three pine trees. So there's 4 trees total. This treehouse it encompasses 4 trees. The olive tree and the 3 pine trees over here. I already showed you in the picture before. You know, nice tall pine trees. They basically served as the columns, and then I basically put in 2 more columns. I think I can't remember how deep I went. I went as deep as my arm would go, and then I poured concrete in there, and then to level out the columns, you know, I used some I can't remember what those things are called, but they have the turnbuckles on them and straps, and you just kind of strapped into the tree and turnbuckled them and concreted them in, let it dry out for the columns. And then what I did is basically my joists. These are basically joists from my perspective. You know, I tried to get some rods. I started with trying to get some threaded bolts. I tried with bolts at first, threaded bolts. I ended up going with they didn't have bolts big enough, so I ended up getting some threaded rods. Some people were telling me at first, oh, those aren't thick enough. You know, it's not gonna hold. Dude, you know, I admit that I'm an engineer. I got an engineering degree from the Naval Academy, which when I went was like probably the 4th best engineering school in the nation. So I do have I know I have some math skills, you know. You know, as long as just check the shear stress on your bolts here. You know, check your shear stress on the steel. You look at the width of it, the diameter, and then you know, as long as you really want to go with a lot, because when you do this type of stuff, not all of your weight is going to spread evenly. Okay, so you can see actually when you actually come underneath this thing, you can see that you know we got weight on these 2 joists here they're connected to this tree. All right, but there's not a lot of weight on this joist right here. You see it's got the gap. There's really not a lot of weight on that joist. You know, I wanted to have that joist be a part of the system, but it really isn't doing a whole lot. And you know, I added these in here, but that's really not. I really did that just for looks. You know, the main thing that's holding it up is these joists. And, you know, obviously use pressure treated wood, you know, for the outdoors. You see, I made some mistakes here, but you know, and as I built this, you know, I remember I was planning on attaching the different parts of different trees, and I was flexible as it went. So okay, love, now let's go ahead and get in there. I'll show you the basketball hoop while we're still outside. So I connected the basketball hoop to it with this column. Thought it would be cool. I love basketball. So, and while we're on the outside too, take a look. I ended up doing the pole for exiting. The way I did that is I got fence posts. I put it, you know, concreted in once again, made sure it was stable, but it really, nothing was long enough or that I wanted to pay for, because these things can run expensive. So I have I actually have 3 posts in here, and they kind of intersect right here at this, and I duct taped around it so you didn't cut your fingers. So, you know, it's sturdy enough. So duct tape, man, does marvelous things, right? We used to have a hammock. That was a hammock that was hanging across to here. We put it up sometimes. Kids like to swing on the hammock, which is a lot of fun. You got their kitchen underneath. They got their sandbox underneath. We put the sandbox underneath because it's hard for grass to grow. You see our grass kind of stops. Oh, and by the way, we did this kind of our basketball court, and we can also turn it into like a little picnic lunch area. But you could also do lunch inside the treehouse too. So let's go up inside it. All right. So inside the treehouse, I wanted to do it kind of like a secret entrance. You know, most people, they come to the treehouse, they see it for the first time, they're like, how do you get in there? How do you get in the treehouse? Well, I did the rock climbing grips kind of in the back. I wanted the kids to get some exercise and practice their, their coordination as they're going in and out. So that's why, and that's why I had the pole too, because I wanted to have a fast way out. So when they do want to get out fast, like their mom calls them for lunch or something like that, they can get out fast without trying to maybe hurting themselves going down the rock climbing grips. So let's go inside though. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so here we are. So here we are. We're inside the treehouse. We just came up with the rock climbing grips right here. So then I put this 2x4 in right here, for a little fall protection. You'll see. Hopefully you noticed already. Here's the wall. Boom, boom. With 2 windows. There's a wall with the exit where the pole was at. And here's another wall over here. 1 window right there. And no wall. Ha! Wasn't that cool? I thought it was cool. Because the trees are so close together, we actually made the trees. The trees are a wall. So it gives you that real treehouse feel that you're in the trees, right? We also decided to have the olive tree branch growing into the tree, which is kind of cool. Olive tree branch. And then it doesn't just grow in from the bottom, but it pops out the roof. Isn't that cool? I thought it was cool. You can see we cut the roof with the, we used that PVC. You see it in greenhouses a lot. What this does is it helps to bring in the natural light, right? And then it also, so that way when there's, if you want to, we actually were out in the treehouse one night. We spent the night and it started raining a little bit, and we were protected pretty well, from the rain. It was pretty cool. It's temporary protection. Obviously, if there's a big storm, it's not going to happen. We got the 2 windows. You can see that we did some supports to the tree right here, and you can see the walls. Basically we framed the walls just like you would do in a house, right? Did them on the ground, and we had a bunch of guys. I had about maybe 7 guys come over to help bring the walls up to the top. I had cut ties, and I was initially gonna have ties already pre-cut for the top. That ended up not working out because it just wasn't the way I wanted. It just didn't work out. It's different when you're building something on the ground than when you're building it, in the air. It's just for fun. And then so I originally was gonna use some different. I was doing this like it was a deck. I was gonna use different size wood. I ended up not doing that, and the reason why is because it wasn't available. COVID has hit the lumber industry hard, and so you had to work with what you had, what was available. Oh, you can see up here, for the roof, I put this across, to help support the roof. So that's what that was for. It was pretty simple, nothing complicated there. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Obviously, we have siding on here. You can see these are connected right up in here. See how it gets connected, just like you would a wall. It's pretty basic. The siding we got was the kind that you can kind of put together. You can see kind of folds. You can see where it meets and it kind of overlaps. Make sure that you get the overlap right. You can use some glue, but really the main thing that holds it in there is going to be the screws. This is how it's been up here for 6 months now. So it's held its own pretty well. And that's what I wanted to share, man. It's a pretty cool thing to do if you got time. You don't have to be an expert. I do work in construction, but I'm not a carpenter. So you can do it. You can enjoy it. I'm gonna pause it. Yeah, so that's our treehouse. Obviously we painted a little face on there. So, that's it. Man, it was a lot of fun. Got to stay in it for about 6 months. Wish I could have been longer. All right. God bless everybody. Peace.